My name is Shinko. Welcome to my channel. We have been attempting to escape the horrors of real life with The Warriors by Erin. It is the second book in the series The Warriors by Erin Hunter. If you are new, hi, welcome. I've read the first book. If you're interested, you can check out my previous videos. If you like cats in general and you are interested in something new, like a series, maybe something to dive into, there's over 20 books in this series. There's even comics to it. It's pretty expansive. I do have to give a trigger warning that there is life and death in this series. Characters will come and go. For when there's happy moments, there's going to be sad moments too. So we left off at chapter 24. We just finished the gathering, at 4 trees, and StarClan has decided to end the gathering early. Some clouds went over the moon. The lights went out, essentially. They got spooked. So a few things have been happening, and in this reading, in this video, some conclusions is going to happen. So there's accusations flying around that Shadow Clan is invading some territories, as well as accusations that River Clan is invading Thunder Clan territory. But the interesting thing is, it's the same sense every time, in each case. So there's the question of, is it Shadow Clan? Is it River Clan? Is it Thunder Clan? Now we know Thunder Clan and River Clan, the deal is Greystripe and Silverstream's making it difficult. We know that's the deal with them. But what about Shadow Clan? We know Wind Clan is focusing on healing, and they're not really right now going out and trying to cause trouble. So what about Shadow Clan? We know that some cats were recently kicked out. Broken Star is still alive out there, and he still has his 9 lives. So, let's get started. Tall Star spoke up, a dim silhouette on the top of the great rock. This gathering is over, by the will of StarClan. The crowd murmured in agreement. The air was thick with the sense of fear and hostility. Come, ThunderClan! Fireheart could barely see Blue Star as she leaped down from the great rock and headed for the edge of the clearing. He pushed his way through the other cats and hurried after her. He saw the massive outline of Tiger Claw as the deputy felon stepped beside his leader, and the pale gray shapes of the other ThunderClan cats as they gathered behind the 2 great warriors. No cat spoke as they trekked solemnly up the slope towards home. Fireheart glanced over his shoulder. The other clans were withdrawing too. By the time he reached the top of the slope, 4 trees was deserted. The clan ran silently through the forest, following the familiar scent line trail. Fireheart spotting Greystripe at the back, and he slowed his pace. Maybe Greystripe would be more prepared to talk about Silverstream, now that it was clear how tense things were between the clans. His scent had been detected in River Clan territory. Greystripe was putting himself and the clan in danger with his secret meetings. Fireheart searched for the right words, but Greystripe hissed first. I know what you're going to say, and I won't stop seeing her. You're a mouse-brained fool, Fireheart spat back. They'll soon work out it's you. Blue Star will guess, or some cat from River Clan will recognize your scent. Tiger Claw's probably already guessed. Greystripe shot Fireheart an anxious glance. Do you really think so? I don't know, Fireheart admitted, relieved to hear a note of fear in Greystripe's voice. Greystripe had been acting as if he had no idea what might happen if the clan found out about his affair. But once he starts thinking about it... Okay, spat Greystripe. He was silent for a moment. What if I promise we'll meet only at 4 trees? That way our scent will be hard to detect, and I won't have to go into River Clan territory. Will you leave me alone then? Fireheart felt his heart sink. Greystripe was not going to give up. Silverstream that easily? Then he nodded. This had to be better than creeping into hostile clan territory to see her. Satisfied? Graystripe's eyes flashed in the gloom, but his voice sounded shaky. Fireheart felt a pang of regret for their lost friendship and a rush of sympathy for the Grey Warrior. He stretched his head forward to nuzzle Graystripe's flank, but Graystripe ran on ahead, leaving Fireheart alone at the back of the group. Even though the cats were tired from the journey, Bluestar called a meeting as soon as they were home. Most of the clan was still awake anyway. The gathering had been shorter than usual, and the sudden cloud over had alarmed even the cats left in camp. While Bluestar and Tigerclaw settled themselves on High Rock, Fireheart hurried over to the nursery. He wanted to know how Cloud Kit was. He poked his head through the entrance. It was pitch black and warm inside. "Hello, Fireheart," Brindleface whispered, a faint shadow shifting in the gloom. "Cloud Kit's much better. Yellowfang gave him feverfew. It was just a chill." The queen sounded relieved. "What happened at the gathering?" "StarClan sent clouds to cover the moon. Bluestar's called a meeting. Can you come?" Fireheart listened to Brindleface sniffing her kits. "Yes, I think I can," she answered finally. "My kids will sleep for a while." Fireheart withdrew his head, and together they joined the cats gathered in the clearing. Fireheart felt fur brush against him, and Cinderpaw glanced up at him with wide, worried eyes. Bluestar had already begun. "The greatest threat seems to be for RiverClan and ShadowClan. We must be prepared for the possibility that these two clans have united against us." Shocked meows rippled through the clan. "Do you really think that they've joined together?" Yellowfang rasped. "RiverClan has the best source of prey, but I can't imagine they'd want to share with ShadowClan." Fireheart remembered Silverstream's words about RiverClan's hunger after the two-leg invasion, but he held his tongue, fearful that Bluestar would want to know where he heard that story. "They didn't deny it," Tigerclaw pointed out. Bluestar nodded. "Whatever the truth, we must be on full alert. From tonight, each patrol will have 4 cats, at least 3 of them warriors. The patrols will be more frequent, 2 each night, and 1 during the day, as well as dawn and dusk patrols. We must put a stop to RiverClan's and ShadowClan's raid on our territory, and since they have chosen to ignore our words, we must be prepared to fight." The clan yowled their agreement. Fireheart joined in, even though he was worried about what this open hostility might mean for Graystripe. He looked around at the other cats. He could see all their eyes shining, except Graystripe's. The Grey Warrior sat with his head bowed in the shadows at the edge of the clearing. When the noise died away, Bluestar spoke again. "The first patrol will leave before dawn." She jumped down from the high rock. Tigerclaw followed, and the rest of the clan broke up into small groups. Fireheart could hear them murmuring nervously as he padded to the warrior's den. Fireheart settled in his nest, kneading the moss with his paws to make it comfortable. An owl hooted at the top of the ravine. He knew he would not sleep yet. His mind was racing with the accusations that had flown around at the gathering. He understood RiverClan's anger. They had picked up the scent of ThunderClan cats in their territory, and they were hungry now that their prey had been depleted by the two-leg invasion. But what about ShadowClan? It was smaller since ThunderClan had helped them to chase out their tyrannical former leader and his band of followers. Brokenstar had even admitted to killing Ragged Star, his own father, to become clan leader. But the clan had been left in peace to recover from Brokenstar's bloody rule. Fireheart couldn't help thinking that, with fewer mouths to feed, ShadowClan had no need to raid ThunderClan's hunting grounds or anyone else's. As he puzzled over these thoughts, Whitestorm and Darkstripe pushed their way into the den. Before Whitestorm went to his nest, he stopped beside Fireheart. You're to join me with Sandpaw and Mousefur on patrol at Sunhigh, he meowed. Yes, Whitestorm, Fireheart answered before resting his chin on his paws. He had to get some sleep. His clan needed him to be fit and ready to fight. The clouds that had covered the moon had rolled away by the next morning. Fireheart enjoyed the faint warmth of the sun in his back as he washed himself in the clearing. Cloud Kit jumped out of the nursery entrance opposite him, looking bright and happy. Fireheart thanked StarClan that he had recovered so quickly. Sandpaw had been right about the kit's resilience. He looked around to see if Longtail and Dustpaw were there to see it too, but the clearing was empty. Fireheart crossed over to the nursery. Hi, Cloud Kit, he meowed. Feeling better? Yep, squeaked Cloud Kit. He spun around in a circle, grasping for his tail with his tiny jaws. A small ball of moss that had been sticking to his fur fell off and rolled along the ground. Cloud Kit leaped on it and pawed it into the air. It bounced onto the ground beside Fireheart. Fireheart knocked it back towards the kit, and Cloud Kit sprang up to catch it with his teeth. Well done! Fireheart was impressed. With one paw, he scooped the moss ball high into the air, sending it flying across the clearing. Cloud Kit raced after the moss and grabbed it. He rolled onto his back, threw the ball up with his forepaws, and kicked it away with his hind legs. It landed next to the nursery. Cloud Kit scrambled up and scooted after it. He crashed a rapid leap away, his hindquarters bunched in the air. Fireheart watched as the kit prepared to pounce. Suddenly, his fur prickled. A long, dark foreleg was reaching towards the moss ball from behind the nursery. Cloud Kit, wait! Fireheart called. Shadowy images of rogue cats were still fresh in his mind. Cloud Kit sat up and looked around at him, puzzled. Tiger Claw emerged from behind the kitten, holding the moss between his teeth. He carried the ball over to the kit and dropped it by Cloud Kit's fluffy white paws. Be careful, he growled. You wouldn't want to lose such a precious plaything. As he spoke, the Dark Warrior stared at Fireheart over Cloud Kit's head. Fireheart shivered. What did Tiger Claw mean by that? He seemed to be talking about the moss ball, but did he really mean that Cloud Kit was the plaything? An image of Cinderpaw flashed into Fireheart's mind, a wounded Haddle beside the thunder path. Was that another plaything he had lost? A cold feeling of dread seeped into his heart as once more he wondered if the ThunderClan deputy was somehow responsible for his apprentice's accident. Chapter 25. Cloud Kit! Fireheart heard Brindleface calling from inside the nursery. Tiger Claw turned and padded away. Cloud Kit gave the moss ball a final shove and ran over to the nursery entrance. Bye, Fireheart! He mewed before he disappeared inside. Fireheart looked up at the sky. It was almost Sunhigh, time to join his patrol. He was hungry, but no fresh kill had been gathered yet. Perhaps he might find something while they were out. He hurried across the clearing and out through the gorse tunnel, frozen leaves crunching beneath his paws. Sandpaw and Mousefur were already waiting at the foot of the slope. Fireheart raised his tail in greeting, unexpectedly happy to see Sandpaw. Hi, meowed Sandpaw. Mousefur nodded to him. Whitestorm emerged from the gorse tunnel. Is the dawn patrol back yet? No sign of them, answered Mousefur, but as she spoke, Fireheart heard the rustle of undergrowth above them. Out of the bushes came Willowpelt, Running Wind, Darkstripe, and Dustpaw. We patrolled the entire RiverClan border, Willowpelt reported. No sign of any hunting parties so far. Bluestar's patrol will check the area again this afternoon. Good, replied Whitestorm. We'll take the ShadowClan border. Hopefully they'll have the same good sense as RiverClan and stay away, meowed Darkstripe. After last night, they must know we'll be looking out for them. I hope so, growled Whitestorm. He turned to his patrol. Are you ready? Fireheart nodded. Whitestorm flicked the tip of his tail and leaped away into the bracken. Fireheart followed Mousefur and Whitestorm. They kept up a fast pace as they climbed out of the ravine. Sandpaw was right behind Fireheart. He could feel her warm breath as she scrambled up the boulders. They had not even reached Snake Rocks, when Fireheart picked up a sinister, familiar scent. He opened his mouth to warn the others, but Mousefur spoke first. Shadow Clan! The poor cat stopped to smell the rank stench. I can't believe they'd come back already, Sandpaw murmured. Fireheart noticed the fur quiver along her spine. The scent is recent. Whitestorm eyes glittered with fury. I had hoped Nightstar might bring some honor to his clan, but I suppose the cold winds beyond the Thunderpath blow over every Shadow Clan's heart. Fireheart turned away and began pushing his way into the thick patch of bracken. He rubbed his teeth along the fronds to pick up the scent that hung there. It was Shadow Clan, all right. The smell was very familiar. Very familiar. Fireheart paused. The scent belonged to a Shadow Clan warrior he had encountered before, but which one? Fireheart pushed onward, hoping more scent markings might jog his memory. Now, he could smell something else. Fireheart looked down. On the ground, among the bracken stems, lay a pile of rabbit bones. Clan cats normally buried the bones of their prey as a sign of respect for the life they had taken. Suddenly aware of what this might mean, Fireheart picked up a mouthful and wove back through the bracken. He dropped them at Whitestorm's paws. Whitestorm stared at the bones in fury. Rabbit bones? The warriors who left these want us to know they've been hunting on our land. Bluestar must know about this immediately. Will she send a battle party against Shadow Clan? Asked Fireheart. He had never seen Whitestorm so angry. She should, he hissed, the great white warrior, and I'll lead her myself if I can. Nightstar has betrayed our trust, and StarClan knows he must be punished. Bluestar! Whitestorm flung the rabbit bones down in the middle of the camp clearing. Bluestar's already left on patrol, Tigerclaw told him, stepping up from the shadows. Halftail and Frostfur came hurrying from their dens to find out what was going on. Whitestorm stared at Tigerclaw, still furious. Look at these, he spat. Tigerclaw didn't need to be told what they meant. Their scent carried the whole story. His eyes began to burn with anger. Fireheart hung back at the edge of the clearing and watched the two great warriors. The evidence was certainly ominous, but the discovery of the bones had filled his mind with questions, not anger. It was only 3 moons since Shadow Clan had driven up the cruel leader with the help of ThunderClan. How could the same clan possibly be ready to risk war with ThunderClan? Tigerclaw clearly had no such doubts. Already, he was calling Darkstripe and Running Wind to him. Willowpelt and Mousefur will join us too, he announced. We'll find a Shadow Clan patrol and leave them with some wounds that'll remind them to keep out of our territory in the future. Whitestorm nodded. Can I come? Sandpaw meowed. She had been pacing excitedly behind the white warrior. Now she stopped and looked at him with glittering eyes. Not this time, Whitestorm told her. Frustration flickered across her face. But what about Fireheart? She meowed. He found the bones. Tigerclaw narrowed his eyes, his hackles raised. Fireheart, kids stay here and tell Bluestar when she arrives, he hissed contemptuously. You're going to leave before she gets back? Fireheart asked. Of course, Tigerclaw spat. This needs to be settled now. He turned to Whitestorm and flicked his tail. Fireheart watched as the two warriors charged out of the camp. Darkstripe, Willowpelt, Running Wind, and Mousefur close behind. He could hear their paws pounding the frozen earth as they headed for the side of the ravine. Fireheart was suddenly aware how empty the camp was. As Frostfur and Halftail came forward and began sniffing the rabbit bones, he meowed, "Who went with Blue Star?" Frostfur looked up. Graystripe, Longtail, and Swiftpaw. A cold wind ruffled Fireheart's fur. He hoped that was what made him shiver. He was the only warrior left in camp. "Will you check the apprentice's den to see if Dustpaw's there?" Fireheart asked Sandpaw. She nodded, bounded across the clearing, and poked her head into the den. "He's there," she called back, ducking out again. "Asleep with Brackenpaw." Yellowfang came padding out of her den and lifted her head. Fireheart relaxed a little at the familiar sight of the old medicine cat. He narrowed his eyes, ready to greet her. But as Yellowfang tasted the air, her eyes clouded with fear. With slow, stiff steps, she approached the rabbit bones and carefully sniffed each one. Fireheart watched her, wondering why she was so interested in the old bones. At last, she looked up and stared into Fireheart's eyes. "Broken Star!" she rasped, in a voice choked with horror. "Broken Star?" Fireheart echoed. Then it hit him. That was why the scent in the bracken had been so familiar. It was Broken Star's scent. "Are you sure?" he meowed urgently. "Tiger Claw's already left for Shadow Clan territory." "Shadow Clan isn't to blame for this!" cried Yellowfang. "This is Broken Star and his old warrior friends. I was Shadow Clan's medicine cat. I was there at their kitting. I know their scent as well as I know my own." She paused. "You must find Tiger Claw and stop him. He will be making a terrible mistakes if he attacks them." The blood roared on Fireheart's ears, making him dizzy. What should he do? "I'm the only warrior left," he meowed breathlessly to Yellowfang. "What if Broken Star attacks the camp while I'm gone? He's done it before. He might have left the bones as a trap." "You must tell Tiger Claw before he..." Yellowfang pleaded, but Fireheart shook his head. "I can't leave you all alone." "Then I shall go," Yellowfang hissed. "No, I'll go," meowed Sandpaw. Fireheart looked from one cat to the other. He couldn't afford to send either. Their strength and training were needed here to protect the clan, but Yellowfang was right. Innocent blood couldn't be shed. Broken Star was the invader here. ThunderClan has no quarrel with Shadow Clan. He would have to send another cat. He closed his eyes and thought hard. The answer came in a moment. "Brackenpaw!" Fireheart hissed. Opening his eyes wide, he called his apprentice's name out loud. The young cat pushed his way out of the den and padded across the clearing towards Fireheart. "What is it?" he asked, blinking the sleep from his eyes. "I have an urgent mission for you," Fireheart told him. Brackenpaw shook himself and stood taller. "Yes, Fireheart," he meowed. "You must find Tiger Claw. He's taken a raiding party to attack a Shadow Clan patrol. Stop him, and tell him that it was Broken Star who has been invading our territory." Brackenpaw's eyes widened with alarm, but Fireheart went on. "You might have to cross the Thunder Path. I know you haven't been trained." Images of Cinderpaw's broken body flashed in Fireheart's mind, but he forced them away. He looked deep into Brackenpaw's eyes. "You must find Tiger Claw," he repeated, "or there will be a war between the clans, for no reason." Brackenpaw nodded, his eyes calm and filled with purpose. "I'll find him," the tabby apprentice promised. "May StarClan go with you." Fireheart murmured, reaching forward to touch Brackenpaw's flank with his nose. Brackenpaw turned and sprinted out through the gorse tunnel. Fireheart watched him go, struggling to keep calm. Cinderpaw. The Thunder Path. The images kept flashing back. Fireheart shook his head to clear it. There was no time to worry now. If Broken Star wasn't ThunderClan territory, the camp had to prepare for an attack. "What's happening?" Dustpaw had emerged from the apprentice's den. Fireheart glanced at him, ran to the head of the clearing, and scrambled up onto the high rock. The clearing seemed a long way below his trembling legs. He swallowed hard and began the ceremony call, the customary call. "Let all cats old enough to..." But the words were taking too long. The camp is in danger! Come here now! He yelled urgently. The elders and queens rushed from their dens, followed by their kits. They looked bewildered when they saw Fireheart at the top of High Rock. Cinderpaw limped out of the fern tunnel, looked up at Fireheart with a strong, bright gaze. When Fireheart saw her, the camp suddenly stopped swaying beneath them. "What's going on?" demanded One Eye, the oldest ThunderClan cat. "What do you think you're doing up there?" Fireheart didn't hesitate. "Broken Star is back. He might be in ThunderClan territory right now. All our other warriors are out of the camp. If Broken Star attacks, we must be ready. Kids and elders, stay in the nursery. The rest of you must be ready to fight." A menacing yell from the camp entrance cut short Fireheart's speech. A lean, dark brown tabby with matted fur and torn ears strode into the camp. His bristling tail was bent in the middle like a broken branch. "Broken Star!" Fireheart gasped, instinctively unsheathing his claws as every hair on his body stood on end. 4 mangy warriors prowled in behind their leader, their eyes glittering with hatred. "So you're the only warriors left?" Broken Star hissed, his lips drawn back in a snarl. "This will be easier than I thought." Chapter 26. Yellowfang, Dustpaw, and Sandpaw rushed forward in a defensive row, and the queens lined up behind them. Fireheart saw Cinderpaw hobbling to join them, but Dustpaw spat angrily at the small gray cat as she neared. Cinderpaw scrabbled clumsily away, ears flat, back into Yellowfang's den. The elders grabbed the kits, bundled them into the nursery, and squeezed inside after them. Brindleface picked up Clapkit in her jaws and rushed him in last. She tugged at the brambles with her paws, ignoring the thorns, and covered the entrance before returning to join the rest of her clan in the clearing. Fireheart leaped down from the high rock and raced to Yellowfang's side. He arched his back and hissed at Broken Star. "You lost the last time we fought, and you'll lose again." "Never!" Broken Star spat back. "You might have taken my clan away from me, but you can't kill me. I have more lives than you." "1 ThunderClan life is worth 10 of yours," Fireheart growled. He gave a warrior's yell, and the clearing exploded into battle. Fireheart leaped straight for Broken Star and grasped the dark brown tabby with his claws. Life as an outlaw had treated the former clan leader harshly. Fireheart could feel the ribs of the flea-bitten Tom beneath his fur, but Broken Star was still strong. He twisted around and sank his teeth into Fireheart's hind leg. Fireheart yelled and hissed with rage, but kept his grip. Broken Star struggled forward, scrabbling with his paws on the frozen ground. Fireheart felt his claws raking along Broken Star's bony flanks as the rogue warrior ripped himself free. Fireheart lunged after him, but the other claws were grasping at his hind leg. He looked over his shoulder to see who it was. Clawface crouched there, staring at Fireheart with narrowed, mocking eyes. Fireheart looked back at him in disbelief. He had never expected to see this cat again. He forgot Broken Star instantly. It was Clawface who had killed Spotted Leaf 6 moons ago. He had murdered her, the ThunderClan medicine cat, in cold blood so that Broken Star could steal Frostfur's kits. Rage roared in Fireheart's ears as he twisted around and threw himself on top of the scrawny brown Tom. Fireheart glimpsed a flash of tortoiseshell fur out of the corner of his eye, and the sweet scent of Spotted Leaf hit the roof of his mouth. He felt her spirit beside him. She had come to help him avenge her death. Fireheart hardly noticed the pain in his leg as he tore it free from Clawface's grasp and flew at him. The Tom reared up and flailed his wide front paws. Thorn-sharp claws caught Fireheart behind his ear. Pain rippled through him like fire, and he staggered. Clawface was on him in an instant, pinning Fireheart to the ground and sinking his teeth into the back of his neck. Fireheart screeched in agony. "Help me, Spotted Leaf! I can't do it!" Suddenly, the weight was wrenched off his back. Fireheart sprang to his paws and spun around. Gray Stripe! The gray warrior stood motionless, his eyes filled with horror. Clawface's body hung limply from his jaws. Gray Stripe opened his mouth, and Clawface fell to the ground, dead. Fireheart took a step forward. He killed Spotted Leaf, Gray Stripe. This is no time for remorse. Is Blue Star with you? He went on urgently. Gray Stripe shook his head. She sent me back to fetch Tiger Claw, he replied. We found bones. Blue Star recognized Broken Star's stench and guessed he might be leading the rogue cats. A hiss sounded nearby and two cats crashed into Fireheart. He leaped out of the way. It was Frostfur battling with another of the attacking cats. The queen was fighting with all of the power of StarClan. These were the cats who had stolen her kits. Hate shone in her eyes as she struggled. Fireheart held himself back. Frostfur didn't need his help. A moment later, the rogue warrior was sent screeching away through the bracken camp wall. Frostfur chased after him, but Fireheart called her back. You have given him enough wounds to remember you. The queen skidded to a halt by the bracken wall and turned, her sides heaving, her white fur stained with her enemy's blood. Another rogue warrior screeched past Fireheart and headed for the camp wall. Dustpaw chased after him and managed to give the mullet tabby a fierce bite before he let him scrabble out of the camp. Only Broken Star and one warrior left, Fireheart thought. Sandpaw had the rogue warrior pinned to the ground. The Tom was lying motionless beneath her. Watch out, thought Fireheart, remembering his favorite trick of letting an enemy think he had won. But Sandpaw was not deceived. When the Tom leaped to his paws, she was ready. She sprang off him and then lunged, grasping the warrior with her claws to flip him over and rake his belly with her hind legs. Only when he squealed like a kid did she let go of him. The rogue tore out of the camp entrance, still wailing. There was an eerie moment of silence and stillness. The ThunderClan cats stood in silence and stared at the blood and fur that was scattered around the clearing. In the middle lay Clawface's body. Where was Broken Star? Fireheart spun around in alarm, scanning the camp. Could he have broken into the nursery? He was about to spring towards the bramble den when a wretched howl from Yellowfang's den tore the air. Fireheart tore across the fern tunnel. Cinderpaw! He raced into the den, expecting the worst, but saw instead Broken Star lying in a heap on the ground. The old medicine cat stood over him. Broken Star's eyes were closed and bloody. Fireheart saw his sides heave once and then stop moving. He recognized from the deep stillness in the rogue warrior's body that Broken Star was losing a life. Yellowfang's claws were unsheathed and glistened red. Her face was twisted and her eyes glazed. Suddenly, Broken Star gasped and began to breathe again. Fireheart waited for Yellowfang to lunge at him with another killing bite, but she hesitated. Broken Star didn't get up. Fireheart ran to the medicine cat's side. Is this his last life? Why don't you finish him off? He urged. He murdered his father, banished you from your clan, and tried to kill you. It's not his last life, she rasped. And even if it were, I couldn't kill him. Why not? StarClan would honor you for it. Fireheart could not believe her words. The name Broken Star had always made this old she-cat bristle with rage. Yellowfang dragged her gaze from Broken Star and looked at Fireheart. Her eyes clouded with pain and grief as she murmured, He is my son. Fireheart felt the ground lurch beneath his paws. But medicine cats are forbidden from having kits, he blurted out. I know, answered Yellowfang. I never intended to have kits, but then I fell in love with Rocket Star. Her voice was thick with sorrow. Suddenly, Fireheart thought back to the battle when Broken Star was driven out of the Shadow Clan camp. Just before he fled, the cruel leader had told Yellowfang that he murdered his father. Yellowfang had been devastated, and now Fireheart understood why. "There were 3 kids in my litter," Yellowfang went on, "but only Broken Star survived. I gave him to a Shadow Clan queen to bring up as her own. I thought that losing 2 of my kids was punishment from Star Clan for breaking the warrior code, but I was wrong. My punishment wasn't the 2 of my kids died. It was that this one survived." Yellowfang looked in disgust at Broken Star's bleeding body. "And now, I cannot kill him. I must accept my fate, as Star Clan wishes it." Yellowfang staggered, and Fireheart thought she was going to collapse. He pressed his body against her flank to support her and whispered, "Does he know you're his mother?" Yellowfang shook her head. Broken Star began to wail pitifully. "I can't see!" Fireheart realized with horror that the rogue cat's eyes had been scratched beyond repair. Fireheart cautiously approached him. Broken Star lay still. Fireheart poked him with a forepaw, and Yellowfang's son moaned again. "Don't kill me," he whined. Fireheart backed away, feeling a shudder of revulsion at the warrior's fear. Yellowfang took a deep breath. "I will see to him." She walked over to her wounded son, grasped him by the scruff of his neck, and dragged him to the nest that Patchpelt had left. Fireheart let her go. He wanted to check that Cinderpaw was all right. He caught sight of a dark shape moving inside the split rock where Yellowfang slept. "Cinderpaw?" he called. Cinderpaw poked her head out. "Are you okay?" Fireheart asked. "Have the rogue cats gone?" she whispered. "Yes, except Broken Star. He's badly injured." Yellowfang seeing to him. He waited for Cinderpaw's shocked reaction, but she just shook her head slowly and stared at the ground. "Are you okay?" Fireheart repeated. "I should have fought alongside you." Cinderpaw's voice was choked with shame. "You would have been killed." "That's what Dustpaw said. He told me to go and hide with the kids." The small cat's eyes were full of despair. "But I wouldn't have minded being killed. What good am I like this? I'm just a burden to the clan." Fireheart felt a thorn-sharp pang of pity. He searched for words to comfort her, but before he could speak, Yellowfang's rasping mew sounded from the bracken. "Cinderpaw," she called, "fetch me some cobwebs, quickly." Cinderpaw turned at once and disappeared inside the rock, returning a moment later with one paw wrapped in a swath of cobwebs. As quickly as she could, she scrambled awkwardly over to Yellowfang and thrust the cobwebs inside the nest. "Now, get me some of that comfrey root," ordered Yellowfang. As Cinderpaw limped back to the split rock, Fireheart turned to leave. There was nothing more he could do here. He must find out how the rest of the clan was. Hardly any cat had moved in the camp clearing. Fireheart padded straight to Dustpaw and meowed. "Yellowfang has tended to Broken Star's wounds. Cinderpaw's helping her." He ignored Dustpaw's gasp of disbelief. "Go guard him." Dustpaw ran to the tunnel and disappeared inside. Fireheart went over to Graystripe. The Grey Warrior was still staring at Clawface's body. "You saved my life," Fireheart murmured. "Thank you." Graystripe lifted his gaze to Fireheart. "I would give my life for you," he answered simply. Feeling choked, Fireheart watched his friend turn and walk away. Perhaps their friendship was not over after all. The sound of paws pounding through the gorse tunnel broke into his thoughts. Bluestar came rushing into the camp, followed by Longtail and Swiftpaw. Fireheart felt his shoulders droop with relief at the sight of his clan leader. She looked around at the blood-spattered clearing, her eyes wide, until her gaze rested on Clawface's body. "Broken Star attacked?" she meowed. Fireheart nodded. "Is he dead?" "He's with Yellowfang," Fireheart answered, forcing out the words in spite of his exhaustion. "He's been wounded. His eyes." "And the other rogue warriors?" "We chased them off." Are any of our clan badly hurt? Blue Star demanded, looking once more around the clearing. The cats shook their heads. Good, she meowed. Sandpaw, Swiftpaw, take this body out of the camp and bury it. No elders need to be present. No rogue deserves to be buried with the honor of a Star Clan ritual. Swiftpaw and Sandpaw began to drag Clawface towards the tunnel. Are the elders safe? Blue Star asked. They're in the nursery, Fireheart told her. As he spoke, a rustling sounded from the bramble den and Halftail appeared, followed by the other kits and elders. Fireheart saw Cloud Kit tumble out and scamper excitedly across the clearing to Brindleface. She greeted him with a brisk lick, and the kit turned to watch Clawface's body as it disappeared away through the tunnel. Is he dead? Cloud Kit asked curiously. Can I go and see? Hush, whispered Brindleface, tucking her tail around him. Where's Tiger Claw? Blue Star asked. He's taken a party to attack a Shadow Clan patrol, Fireheart explained. We found bones on our patrol. They smelled of Shadow Clan, so Tiger Claw decided to attack. I sent Brackenpaw to stop him when Yellowfang realized there was Brocastar scent on them. Brackenpaw? Meowed Blue Star, narrowing her eyes. Even though he might have to cross the Thunder Path? I was the only warrior left in camp. There was no one else I could send. Blue Star nodded, the concern in her eyes giving way to understanding. You didn't want to leave the camp unguarded, she meowed. You did well, Fireheart. I think Brocastar hoped to lure all of our warriors away from the camp. We found bones too. Graystripe told me. Fireheart looked around for his friend, but Graystripe had disappeared. Send Yellowfang to me when she's finished with Brocastar, Blue Star ordered. She pricked her ears at the noise of more paws in the gorse tunnel. Tiger Claw came racing into the camp, followed by Whitestorm and the rest of the raiding party. Fireheart craned his neck to peer around the warriors until he saw Brackenpaw right at the back. The young apprentice looked exhausted, but unhurt. Fireheart let out a quiet sigh of relief. Did Brackenpaw reach you before you found a patrol? Asked Blue Star, walking over to her deputy. We hadn't even entered their territory, Tiger Claw answered. We were just about to cross the Thunder Path. His eyes narrowed. Was that Clawface they were burying? Blue Star nodded. Then Brackenpaw was right, meowed the deputy. Brocastar was planning to attack the camp. Is he dead? No. Yellowfang is tending to his wounds. Surely not, Mousefur exclaimed, exchanging a glance with Running Wind beside her. Tiger Claw's face darkened. Tending to his wounds? He snarled. We should kill him, not waste time making him better. We'll discuss that once I've spoken to Yellowfang, meowed Blue Star calmly. You can discuss it with me now, Blue Star. Yellowfang padded into the clearing, her head drooping with exhaustion. Have you left Brocastar alone? Growled Tiger Claw, his amber eyes flashing. Yellowfang raised her head and looked at the Dark Warrior. Dustpaw is guarding him, and I've given him poppy seed so he'll sleep for a while. Brocastar is blind now, Tiger Claw. There's no way he'll try to escape. He'd die of hunger in a week if a fox or a gay of crows didn't kill him first. Well, that makes it easier, Tiger Claw snarled. We won't have to kill him ourselves. We can let the forest deal with him. Yellowfang turned to Blue Star. We cannot let him die, she meowed. Why not? Fireheart held his breath as he watched the leader's eyes flick from Yellowfang to Tiger Claw and back again. He wondered if Yellowfang was going to tell Blue Star that Brocastar was her son. If we did, we would be no better than he is, replied Yellowfang calmly. Tiger Claw's tail flicked in anger. What do you think, Whitestorm? Blue Star meowed before Tiger Claw could speak. It will be a burden on our clan to look after him, Whitestorm answered thoughtfully. But Yellowfang is right. If we send him out into the forest or kill him in cold blood, Star Clan will know that we have stooped as low as he. One Eye stepped forward. Blue Star. she meowed in her croaky old voice. In the past, we have sometimes kept prisoners for many moons. We could do it again. Fireheart remembered that Yellowfang herself had been a prisoner when she first came to camp. He waited for the medicine cat to remind Bluestar of this, but she said nothing. So you would really consider keeping that rogue inside our camp? Tiger Claw's eyes blazed with rage as he challenged his leader. With a pang, Fireheart couldn't help agreeing with the Dark Warrior's words. The thought of killing Brokastar appalled him. He knew better than any of these cats what that would mean to Yellowfang, but Brokastar was a fearsome enemy, even without his sight. Keeping him in the camp would be difficult and dangerous for all the members of the clan. Is he really blind? Bluestar asked Yellowfang. Yes, he is. Has he other wounds? Fireheart replied. Has he other wounds? Has he other wounds? Fireheart replied this time. I clawed him pretty badly, he admitted. He looked over to Yellowfang as relieved when the old she-cat dipped her head, just enough for him to know she forgave him for wounding her son. How long till they heal? Asked Bluestar. About a moon, Yellowfang answered. Then you may nurse him till then. And after that, we will discuss his future again. From now on, he will be known as Broken Tail, not Broken Star. We cannot take away the lives that StarClans gave him, but this cat is no longer a clan leader. Bluestar looked questioningly at Tiger Claw. His tail twitched, but he didn't speak. It is decided, Bluestar meowed. He stays. Ooh. Okay, we are not at the end of the book. We have just reached chapter 27, so yes, there's a little bit more. So we have hit, had a major battle. There was a death. Fortunately, at least it was, okay, unfortunately, fortunately, it was a rogue Clawface. It wasn't a character we knew well. It wasn't, quote-unquote, one of the good guys, you know. So, we have that. Now, there's only a few details if you go back and reread the first book, but it does give some hints that Yellowfang was Broken Star's mom. The way she would talk about him and the way it makes sense. You reanalyze the way she would talk about him, how she felt, what she did. Shame. Shame as a parent. Disgust, shame, all of those emotions. But do you think Brokastar should be killed? Do you think it's ethical, knowing what Brokastar has done? Knowing that he has killed kids. He's killed kids on purpose. He's driven out Yellowfang. He's driven out Wind Clan. He's not just killed kids. He's killed other cats too. The total death count from this one cat, we don't fully know. So yes, Brokastar has done some horrible things. But actually we shouldn't call him Brokastar anymore. He's Broken Tail now. Broken Tail has done horrible things. Is it ethical to take away the rest of his lives? Well, I'll leave that up to you. Next video, we'll be actually finishing up. The next video will be finishing up the book. So I hope you guys have had a wonderful day. Be safe out there in this crazy mixed up universe of ours because people are crazy. Have a good day. Bye.